Hi, everyone. Welcome to the Tuesday night meditation. My name is Gretchen, and today you join me from my humble dwelling in Moose Jaw, Saskatchewan. This sacred time and space is devoted to our shared practice of entering stillness together and of giving together. Let us first surround and protect ourselves with the love and grace of God. Before we begin the meditation, I'd like to share a passage from the New Message. This is from the Revelation, The Gift, and it received on March 31st, 2007. Without knowledge, the great endowment to guide you, the mind will attempt to create its own reality, and you have only to look at the condition of the world to see the effect of this. People striving to get what they want, people striving to protect what they have, people striving to protect their privileges in life, or to gain these privileges, or to take them away from others, even people's desire for justice. All these things have created immense suffering and calamity, not only for the individuals involved, but for the entire world. Everything that happens in the world happens because someone wants it, or needs it, or desires it, and a good outcome is usually emphasized when the initial plans were laid. If you try to improve the quality of life without this great endowment, without the power and presence of knowledge within you, you will only add to the conflict of the world. You will only add to the great decline in the world's resources. You will act unitarily. You will deny the realities of the world to have what you want, to have your preferred outcome, to have your preferred life, and to protect what you think you have already. The great tragedy here is that you will attempt to do this in the face of the great waves of change that are coming to the world. The decline in humanity's vital resources, the decline in the environment, the impact upon climate and weather, and the great risk of conflict and war between groups and nations over the remaining resources. In the face of all this, the individual who is trying to acquire all they want above all else can only be part of the problem and not part of the solution. And even if you want to be part of the solution, how can you do this without the great endowment that guides you? How can you be assured that your actions are truly beneficial and will not simply deprive others in the world in order for you to acquire what you desire? You cannot assure this if you look at humanity's predicament with compassion and with wisdom. You will see that the conflict that is raging around the world and the great conflicts that can emerge in the future will all be the result of people trying to create a better reality. They will make this attempt based upon their ideas, based upon their cultural values, based upon their national interest, and based upon their own personal desires, not only for wealth, but for safety and security as well. It's not wrong to want these things, but it is destructive to attempt to gain them without the great endowment. That is one of the reasons why the new message from God is so essential in the world today. Because if humanity continues using the motivations that have gained it this position, these advantages, and these calamities, the future of humanity will be more predictable and extremely grave. To believe that you know what is good for the world, what is good for others, and even what is good for yourself, that is taking a great risk. Every calamity began as someone's good idea for themselves. Every social system that is proposed that has led to revolution, conflict, war, and deprivation began in essence as a desire to improve humanity's condition and to address and redress injustices and inequalities. Can you assume that you can know what is really good for the world? Today, many people want both change and peace, and they do not see the contradiction in this, for change is not peaceful. It is difficult, challenging, and upsetting if it's real change. The truth is that The mind is creative. It creates fantasies, it creates nightmares, it creates scenarios, it creates explanations for the past, it creates new ideas for the future. Your mind was created to be creative. It is creative. But this creative power of the mind is meant to serve something greater than itself. Without its position as being in service to a greater power, the mind is self-fulfilling, it is self-serving, it is consuming, and it will struggle and it will fight, it will blame and it will condemn when it is deprived of its goals. Only knowledge knows how to provide advancement, security, and fulfillment for you. And only knowledge knows how to do this in such a way that it does not deprive others or the world, and that your pursuit of safety, security, and fulfillment becomes beneficial for others because it is guided by knowledge. Your intellect, as creative as it is, cannot figure this out. It does not have this depth of wisdom. It is not connected to life sufficiently. It does not have the clarity and the comprehension to do this. That is because the mind is a vehicle of expression. Its source is the great endowment, and the source of the great endowment is the creator of all life. Whether you are a religious person or not, whether you practice within a faith tradition or not, this is the fundamental reality of your life. If you are unaware of knowledge, you will be constantly striving to get what you want and avoid what you do not want. And you will be in constant judgment, frustration, and indignation over the behavior and the thoughts of others and the condition of the world. The end result is you will be nothing more than a consumer, and you will be adding nothing more to the world than more judgment and condemnation, adding to the fuel of conflict that is already raging here. And then I'm just going to jump to the back here. You need a greater power in your life. The greater power has already been given to you. It is the great endowment. It is knowledge. You may pray for God for many things, to be saved from this or to have that, or even to save other people from calamity, but the real gift has already been given to you. It is tragic that so few people in the world have discovered this gift. They are still looking for the secret. They think it is just a secret, an idea, a plan, an understanding that is all of the mind. The gift is the gift of the Creator. The Creator knows that you cannot fulfill yourself here without knowledge. The Creator knows that humanity will fail without knowledge. The Creator knows that your relationships and all your attempts at satisfying your deeper needs will not be truly fulfilled without knowledge. But the pathway here is very different from the pathway of attempting to fulfill yourself. Here, instead of building an aggregate of ideas and beliefs, a complex and burdening belief system, you begin to open the mind. Instead of having answers, you become present to others and to the world. Instead of explaining the suffering of others and using the suffering of others to validate your own beliefs and ideas, you become present to others to offer whatever is needed to them. You become one less person who is judging, criticizing, and condemning the world. You become one less person who is only here to consume for their own benefit. You become one less person who is demanding that others believe what they believe, to conform to what they determine what is right and rightful. Here you become a peacemaker because you are bringing the presence with you, not because you have a whole idea about what peace is and how it can be achieved. Do not judge others then, for if you're honest with yourself, you will see how long it has taken for you to even come to the beginning of this journey and to recognize the need for knowledge. Understand that everyone is either trying to fulfill their ideas or they are coming to knowledge. And there are so many steps in between these two very different understandings and ways of life. And people are strung out along the pathway You who can hardly understand your deeper nature are not in position to judge and evaluate others. The great dilemmas of the world, the tragedies of the world may seem incomprehensible, but they are not God-proof. You do not need to figure everything out. You just need to follow the way that knowledge will take you. It will take you there without your ideas, beliefs, and understandings necessarily. Some of these things may continue to be useful to you in your journey, but you are a follower now and not a leader. But you are a follower following something within you. You are becoming inner directed rather than simply controlled and manipulated by the immensely powerful forces in the mental environment around you. Forces of your family, your religion, your government, your social groups, your friends, and whatever ideology they espouse. Knowledge is here for people from all walks of life, all religions, all ideologies, because every ideology has some value and merit, but only knowledge within you and within others can use this merit and this value. That is the power and the wisdom of knowledge. You have an opportunity to be a witness to this growing and emerging and expressing itself through your life. And this indeed will be the miracle that will renew to you your fundamental relationship with yourself, with others, with the world, and with God. This is the gift, and it is waiting to express itself through you. Now, please join me in a 30-minute stillness practice. Take whatever time you need to read your own step and enter stillness when you are ready. Nasi Novare Karam. So while we're in this place of stillness, I would like to share a passage from the New Message speaking about the messenger. And the chapter I'm going to read from is Witnessing the Revelation from this book, Worldwide Community of God's New Message from God. So this one is received on June 24th, 2011 in Boulder. The messenger is in the world. He has brought with him a great message for humanity, a message that he has been receiving for over 25 years, a message comprehensive enough to guide humanity into the next great stage of its evolution and development. Yet he is an ordinary man, and in appearance only, for he carries with him the seed of a great understanding and a greater reality. The reality of life in the universe, the reality of greater spiritual dimensions of the world and beyond, the reality of purpose, meaning, and direction, the reality of contact with the angelic presence, who is responsible for the well-being and the progress of the human family. Many people will try to reject him. Many people will condemn him or ridicule him. Who will stand up for him? Who amongst you will bear witness to the revelation? Who amongst you is strong enough, brave enough, and honest enough to do this? The messenger's presence is precious in the world. He is vulnerable. There will be other groups and individuals who will seek to destroy him as his proclamation becomes more recognized and more discernible in the world. Who will bear witness to the revelation? The message and the messenger require many witnesses. They require a great expression of recognition and purpose. And for those for whom this is their destiny, it is the most important thing in their whole life. When they leave this world and return to their spiritual family, they will be asked, did you speak for the messenger? Did you recognize the messenger? Did you support the messenger? It will be the greatest and most significant event and opportunity in their lives. Who can respond to this? Who can recognize this? Who can rise to this occasion, the greatest occasion that they will have? People want many things, but what is required of them is something else. At the time of revelation, the priorities change. This is an event that only happens every millennium, and you are present in the world for this. You will see the messenger being abused and ridiculed and maligned. What will that say to you? Who are the beneficiaries of God's new revelation? What will that evoke in you, who have been blessed and honored to receive the new message for humanity and to be amongst the first and earliest recipients? If you cannot feel and see these things we speak of, then where is your mind going? What could be more important than this to you? Your happiness, your security, your approval from others, your social standing? This is a question and a dilemma for each person who can respond. If those who oppose the messenger come to you and say, what do you believe? What is your position? What will you say to this? If the messenger is denied or ignored or vilified, what will you say to this? People are eager to receive the blessings and the benefits of revelation, but these benefits bring with them a responsibility, the ability to respond. They call forth for you to be a witness and not merely a recipient, participating alone, practicing alone, in secret, hidden away somewhere out in the world. No, you see, this burden falls upon you and others, many others. Do not look for the elite or the highly respectable to risk their position to bear witness to the revelation. Do not think that the messenger needs only to be connected with certain powerful people, for you will be playing the Judas role here, well-intentioned perhaps, but blind to the reality of the situation. The messenger holds the key to humanity's future and future success. Who will bear witness to this? Who will hold this position, a position that the world does not esteem or recognize? Many people will come, wanting many things, There will be nodding heads and smiling faces, but who will bear witness to this? You who seek purpose and meaning in your life must come to understand that this is what it ultimately means, that you must stand for something greater than yourself, greater than your personal interests or advantages, greater than your own private immurement. You must stand for something greater in the face of opposition, in the face of ignorance and foolishness and rejection. This will call you out of the shadows. This will call you out of self-denial. This will call others forth from their miserable, hidden existence. This will bring people out of their low self-esteem. This will bring people out of their self-doubt and self-repudiation. Call now to be a witness to something greater, something magnificent, something deep and efficacious, something humanity needs, but that it cannot provide for itself. For all who can receive the blessings of the Creator now, they will have to face these questions eventually. They cannot simply be on the receiving end, wanting more, expecting more, giving thanks and being grateful, for they too must rise to a position of self-expression. They too must advocate for that which is serving them so greatly. They too must risk their own fears and self-doubts to make a greater expression to others. They too must face social rejection. It is the nature of their calling. There's no calling or purpose that does not involve some of these things. You do not simply proclaim a purpose for yourself and live happily ever after. You do not simply respond to your calling and have everything going your way. For to serve the world, you must confront the world. You must have the courage to face the world and its realities. You must build the strength within yourself to do this and to provide something the world cannot provide for itself, something that is needed, that is not available, something that other people cannot do or will not do. Do not defer to others here, for it is you who are being called. This is the meaning of purpose and calling. To be called is to be called out of the ordinary, out of the crowded places, out of what everyone else is doing, thinking, and concerned with, to step out of line, to be called away from your normal life sufficiently that you can receive a greater wisdom and revelation. What is a great higher purpose but to assume something greater than your normal activities and to serve something beyond your own self-interest and personal edification? Responding to the revelation, then, is a perfect demonstration of these things. For those who cannot or will not bear witness to the revelation, either they do not yet have the great strength that they need and are not strong enough with knowledge, or they are too afraid to cross over the threshold where they become a real communicator in the world, rather than someone who has withdrawn from the world and is afraid of the world and is trying to protect what they have from the world. Not everyone is ready to do this at this moment, but this is where the pathway leads for everyone. You have to stand for something, and your demonstration must be real and not merely psychological. It must be palpable and not merely at the level of thought. You will have to make sacrifices for it. You will have to give up things for it. You will have to risk things for it. And this is what separates those whose calling is true and powerful from those who are either pretending or are too weak to respond fully. Must the messenger be sacrificed at the hands of the opposition, while his true followers remain mute, silent, and impotent? Will the new revelation be desecrated and repudiated, while those who are chosen to be its witness remain silent and withdrawn, afraid for themselves? To think the messenger can communicate and answer everything, it should place an impossible burden upon him, for he must have many witnesses in many places, and they must be careful if they live in countries where there is political or religious repression. They must exercise great discernment and discretion where and when to share the revelation. Martyrdom here is not the emphasis. It is communication. It is relationship. It is spreading the revelation above ground or underground, depending upon the political, social, and religious environment in which one lives. But the communication and the relationship must be extended and expanded. It is not enough to be a fervent believer, for that must translate into action, not only in renewing and reviewing one's life, but in becoming a witness for that which is the source of one's remarkable restoration. This will separate the true respondents from others who are here for other reasons or who are too weak to rise above their own self-concern. Let this be the basis of your understanding of others who respond. It is what they do that matters, not what they say or what they proclaim in the moment. Will they allow their lives to really be changed, altered, and reshaped by the revelation and by the power of knowledge within themselves? Will they bear witness to the messenger as an act of spontaneous and natural contribution? Or will they remain in the background, plotting and planning for how they can benefit without having to pay any prices or take any risk? This is part of the burden of the messenger, for even amongst those who seem to respond positively, there are still dangers. The one who will betray the messenger will come from the ranks of his supporters, the disaffected or failed students, rather than taking responsibility for their own difficulties and limitations, will seek to deny or to diminish the message and the messenger. This always happens at times of revelation. You will see this happening. Your response to the revelation is a response to life and to the source of life. It reveals both your strength and your weaknesses. It shows you those influences in your life which are helpful and those which are harmful. For in the face of the revelation, there is no neutral ground. This polarizes people, as it should, as it must, because there must be impact. The messenger must proclaim the new message and must identify that which is destroying human civilization and humanity's future and freedom. Much of what he will say will be very challenging. It will make you uncomfortable because that is what revelation does. It makes you uncomfortable. Revelation brings both confirmation and discomfort because it requires you to change. It requires you to reconsider your life, your commitments, and your activities. It is a challenge, not just a consolation. The pressure is on the recipient, not to respond immediately, but to respond. How they will respond will say everything about their circumstances, their state of mind, and how they value themselves. Let there be many witnesses to the message and the messenger. Let there be many who can respond and receive the gift of preparation and bring it into their life with real determination and compassion. Let the world hear what the revelation had to say. Let them hear the voice of revelation. Let them respond to the messenger in any way they can. Be a vehicle for this, and your life will be justified, your purpose fulfilled, and the fruit of all your suffering and achievements will have the greatest meaning and the greatest value to the world. Now let us spend a few moments together to be with Marshall and send him our love and strength. Now see if there's anyone else in the world or in your life who needs to receive this strength as well. If so, spend a moment sending strength or another quality to these individuals. Nasi Novari Karam. Thank you everyone for coming and have a good evening, a good day, wherever you are. Goodbye.